Are you thinking about signing up to UnKibble, but you want to know the pros and cons of their custom dry dog food before you commit to a subscription plan? My name is Kieran and I'm one part of Life with Skye, alongside my wife and my two dogs, Skye and Copper, who are sat right behind me. In this video, I'm going to give a brief overview of UnKibble, as well as share my pros and cons based upon my experience feeding UnKibble to my two Alaskan Skye dogs, who are very picky, Skye and Copper. Before I get started, I want to point out that this is not a sponsored video. Spot and Tango have not paid me to make this video. Also, if you do click any of the links in this video or in the description below, we may make a small commission. With that out of the way, let's take a brief look at who Spot and Tango is before we look at their UnKibble and I share my pros and cons as well as give my overall verdict. Spot and Tango are a fresh dog food company that have been operating for quite some time now. In 2020, they released UnKibble, which is their take on fresh, dry dog food, hoping to help pet owners that ditch the traditional kibble that you may buy at your pet store or your local supermarket and give them something fresh that has been customized to meet their specific needs. What sets UnKibble apart from traditional kibble is that they use human-grade, high-quality meat, fresh fruit, and fresh vegetables in their recipes. All their recipes have been formulated by board-certified veterinary nutritionists, so you can feel good that your dog is eating human-grade dog food that has been formulated by experts. As you might expect from a fresh dog food company that states they only use real food in their recipes, you won't find any fillers, nasties, preservatives, or anything else in their dog food. In fact, Spot and Tango use really clear and transparent labeling, so you can see exactly what ingredients have gone into your dog's UnKibble recipes. If you look at the ingredients label, you'll likely recognize food that you and I would eat as part of our own diet. Another thing that sets UnKibble apart from traditional kibble is that they offer customized recipes. So to get started with UnKibble, you will need to head to Spot and Tango's website and complete their questionnaire. This allows Spot and Tango to get to know your dog, such as age, breed, weight, activity level, eating habits. And by sharing this information, Spot and Tango can customize their UnKibble to meet your dog's specific needs, irrespective of breed, weight, or age. Seeing as UnKibble is dry dog food, they will ship your food without needing to use ice, and when you get your first box, you can simply store UnKibble in your cupboard. When you're ready to feed it to your dog, you can open the bag, use the custom scooper, pour the contents directly into your dog's bowl, and then reseal the bag and put it back in the cupboard. So now that we've covered the main points of UnKibble, let's take a look at my pros and cons with their custom dry dog food. My first pro of UnKibble will be the fact that they use human grade food. So it's food that you and I will recognize and likely eat in our own daily meals. You can actually see the ingredients on each UnKibble bag. It's clearly displayed and they've got transparent labeling. They have limited ingredient recipes, so you can know exactly what's gone into your dog's food and feel confident that they are eating a balanced and complete diet comprised of human grade ingredients. I really like that. That's something that's really important to me when it comes to feeding food to Skye and Copper. Having previously fed them traditional kibble that uses confusing labels and isn't transparent with what ingredients has gone into the food, I feel much better feeding Skye and Copper dog food where I know what ingredients are in that dog food. I've seen the benefits firsthand of feeding human grade fresh dog food because Skye no longer has digestive issues or tummy issues when it comes to feeding human grade dog food. That was not the case with traditional dog food such as wet food, dry food that you might find in your local pet store or your supermarket. My second pro would be that UnKibble customize their recipes to meet your dog's needs. That's something that's really important to me because Skye is underweight and needs to gain a little weight, and she's also really picky and really fussy. This is the information that I could share when I was signing up to UnKibble's subscription plan. On the other hand, Copper is a little overweight, as a lot of our subscribers have recently pointed out, and we're trying to help him lose a few pounds. So being able to enter the details of Skye and Copper, I could share with Spot and Tango what my hopes were when it came to feeding their food to Skye and Copper and what the weight goals were for each of my Skye. This is something that I would not have been able to do if I was just going to my local pet store and picking up the food. While a lot of dog food delivery companies claim that their food is pre-portioned, when it comes to actually getting the food, it isn't always clear how this pre-portioned element works. I really like that UnKibble provide a custom scooper. So when it came time to feed Skye and Copper, all I had to do was get the scooper, get some food out of the bag and pour it directly into their bowl. That way I knew I was feeding the right amount to Skye and Copper, and like I said, seeing as they have different weight goals, that was something that was really important to me. So I love the fact that Spot and Tango followed through on this pre-portioned element of their fresh dog food subscription plan. If you fed fresh dog food or raw dog food in the past, you know that it can be stressful trying to figure out how to fit all the raw dog food and fresh dog food in your freezer. Now Spot and Tango do offer fresh meals, but for this particular pros and cons, I'm only looking at their dry dog food. And I like the fact that UnKibble could go back in my cupboard once I was done. While we did feed a fresh dog food brand while we lived in the UK for the past 5 years, when we got back to America, I wanted to see if I could find a dry dog food brand that perhaps wouldn't take up as much space in my fridge and my freezer. I like the fact that I don't have to worry about dog food getting on the shelf in my fridge or any of the mess that is associated sometimes with fresh dog food. There's no prep, there's no mess. All I have to do is get that scooper, get some dog food out of the bag, and once I'm done, I put it back in the cupboard. It's that simple. The fact that I didn't need any fridge or freezer space was a big pro. Finally, UnKibble is a lot cheaper than fresh dog food. It's cheaper than their own fresh dog food that Spot and Dine could provide, and it's cheaper than most fresh frozen dog food that I have previously reviewed. When it comes to other dry food, UnKibble is competitively priced. I wouldn't say it's the cheapest, I wouldn't say it's the most expensive. It's in the middle range. So I do think it is competitively priced. So if you are thinking of giving custom kibble a go, then I think UnKibble could be a good price point for you. So now that we've taken a look at the pros, let's look at the cons. My first con would be that it costs more than regular pet food. Now, if you're watching this video and you are considering giving UnKibble a try, I suspect you're already prepared to pay a little bit extra for a fresher approach to your dog's diet. However, for some dog owners, it might be a shock when you see the increased price of your dog's pet food. UnKibble does cost more than traditional dry food and traditional kibble that you will find in your pet store, so that is something to be prepared for. The reason it costs more is because of the human grade ingredients, the fact that your dog's food is being customized, and the fact that it's getting delivered to your door. But there's no denying that it is a potential con for some dog owners who may find it difficult to include UnKibble in their monthly budget. At the time of filming, UnKibble have 4 recipes. They've got a beef recipe, a chicken recipe, a cod recipe, and a turkey recipe. While this is decent selection, I'm sure some dog owners might have liked to have seen more protein options on their menu. And so for that reason, if you do have a picky eater, then you may put this as a con, because you might like to see lamb, you might like to see pork, you might like to see some other fish varieties on their recipe. I do think 4 recipes is a good amount of variety, and so if you do have a fussy eater, there's likely something that your dog will enjoy. But for some other dog owners, that may be a con. I know based upon the food that we were feeding in the UK before we moved back to California, they had over 10 recipes, and a lot of the dog food companies in the UK had multiple protein sources on their menu. My final con would be that my picky eater, Skye, did not really enjoy her UnKibble meals. While she would eat some of the beef recipe, I found the chicken, the cod, and the turkey recipes were not a hit with my Alaskan Klekai. Copper is more food motivated, so he did generally eat most of the food that I put in front of him from UnKibble. But Skye would usually have a couple of mouthfuls and then leave the rest of her bowl. And if I wasn't watching, Copper would sneak over and he would eat her food, which wasn't helpful for his weight loss goals. Now, I should point out that obviously every dog is different, and this is just my experience based upon feeding UnKibble for the duration of around 4 to 6 weeks. If you do have a fussy eater, you may find that he or she does love UnKibble and you won't have any trouble feeding multiple recipes from their menu. But with Skye, I found it really difficult to encourage her to eat UnKibble. And like I said, beef was her favorite. The other recipes she didn't really care for. I think if you are paying extra for custom kibble, then you want to be sure that your picky eater is going to eat it. So that's why I've put it as a con in this video. So now that we've heard my pros and cons, what's my overall verdict? If you're looking to ditch traditional kibble or wet food and you're looking for a fresher approach, I don't think you'll go wrong with UnKibble. They're a good starting place for anybody that's ready to adopt a fresh food diet for their dog. Having said that, we don't feed UnKibble at the moment. We've actually switched to an air-dried dog food brand that we feed in combination with some raw dog food. But like I said, if you're new to the concept of fresh dog food, custom dry dog food, custom kibble, then I do think UnKibble could be a good starting point for you. And there's a lot of good things that they do with their dog food business, especially how transparent they are and the fact that they use human grade ingredients. So while UnKibble wasn't an overwhelming success in my house, I would say it's a good potential option for dog owners out there. So there we have it. You've heard my UnKibble pros and cons. You've also heard my UnKibble verdict. Before I sign off, I just want to let you know that if you do want to give UnKibble a try, you could save 50% on your first order. All you need to do is click the link in this video or in the description below, and you will automatically get that 50% discount when you get to the checkout. If you have previously fed UnKibble, committing to an UnKibble subscription plan based upon this video, do let me know in the comments below how you get on. I love to get feedback from dog owners based upon their experience feeding the dog food that I've reviewed in my videos. Like I said, every dog is different and Skye and Copper have their own preferences. Your dog may have a totally different experience eating the dog food that I review. So I do like to get feedback from other owners because I think it's also useful for people watching this video. Head to the comment section and learn how other users got on with the dog food. But that's all from me. I'll see you in the next video.